interviewing other couples and learning their journeys and their stories about travel. We have laughed, we have been shocked, we have been amazed. Some of the stories have just been so dope. And Black love is revolutionary. So doing this and putting it on the platform and making this season 3 and adding some new things, but keeping some old, it's always happy hour. It's happy hour somewhere. Keeping to the core of what Travel Tuesdays happy hour is, but letting people add their spouses or their significant others that make their travel experiences.
Magically, like I pulled you out of hat, pull you out of bag from out of mag if you want that. Pull up in the slab and pull off with you in my lap. Top down.
Welcome to Travel Tuesday Happy Hour, where we interview dope people doing dope things from around the world. Mm-hmm. And you guys have followed us all the way to season 3.
Yes.
As you can see, I'm not alone here. Season 3 is about couples and couples goals. Mm-hmm. It's about Black love. Mm-hmm. And, who best but my better half to join me in this season. And I'll tell you, this season's been amazing, and recording it with this amazing woman because she asked questions that I didn't remember to ask.
Well,
so, 2 is better than 1 in this case, right? Mm-hmm. So please introduce yourself and tell the people who are you and who will you be?
Mm-hmm. I am Jacqueline Jackson, better known as Jackie, soon to be Mrs. Benjamin. I'm Paige's fiance, and we are getting married very, very soon. By the time this, no. Okay. Anyway, born and raised in Queens, New York, currently a Harlem resident for the past 10 years, a little bit more, but soon to be a Jersey resident because I'm moving in with my husband.
Hey. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Peuge Benjamin. Also Atomic Travels for some of you. Mm-hmm. I am a child of 2 immigrant Haitian parents that love me so much that they instill travel in me in so many different ways. I can think of first time I've traveled was, traveling to Haiti to go visit for the first time. That was me getting on a plane for the first time and really experiencing the plane experience. Like, as a kid, you get on a plane, you are touching buttons, you're asking questions. And so for me, that was really like my intro to travel. And as I got older, we would travel to different places, whether it be upstate New York for my mom's like work trips, because, they were always traveling and trying to make sure that the kids experience stuff. And then as an adult, as a college student, my first international trip as a college student was to Jamaica. It was like a mission trip. Oh. And we were able to go to like Montego Bay.
I didn't know that.
I'm telling you, getting a little tidbit like everybody else. Right?
I mean, I'm learning too.
It was a mission trip that, we was able to go take care of some business during the day, have fun at night. And from that point on, it was like travel bug. Let's go. Bit by the bug. So for me, that was just like, all right, holidays, deuces, long weekends, deuces. And it was one of those situations where we would even create groups. Like I was part of a men's group that, we would just travel every year around the same time and hit a different country just so that we can have that shared experience. What about you? What was your introduction to travel?
My mom, mom, Diane, she is a flower child. She is definitely a free spirit. And since I was born, she was like, she had me strapped in, taking me to all the places that she would want to go. A lot of it was domestic travel. We would visit family and friends in all along the Eastern Seaboard, the South, and a little bit of Midwest. And she would just take me everywhere. We would go everywhere. And we also went to the Caribbean. Some of my first Caribbean trips were with my family or with my mom. And the rest of my family pretty much travels too. My aunts, my grandmother, God rest her soul, she would travel with us as well. So yeah. And then in my early 20s, my early to mid 20s, you know, fresh off of a degree and first or second gig in corporate America, making a little coin, just a little coin. And I had a group of girlfriends and we would travel. We would go to all of the very Black events. We would go to the All-Stars and the Super Bowls and the fests and things like that.
Yeah,
you know,
balling.
we were out. It was about 7 to 8 of us in a hotel room that was accommodating for. But as long as we were out, that was what we did, and that was great.
Okay. Now,
don't judge us. You know how those trips go. You got a little bit of money, not a lot. You got a little bit, so you want to be there. But
now tell the people how you met this amazing individual here. Yeah, take a sip real quick.
So we met on Hinge, the dating app that's meant to be deleted, and we deleted it. You deleted yours, right?
Yeah,
you better have deleted it. Okay, good. So we met on Hinge. Interesting story. And an organization that I'm involved with was doing an event focused on computer love. So internet dating, online apps, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, you know what? I want to be able to fully participate in this conversation. So let me get online and let me date something, let me do something. In the very beginning of the shutdown, lockdown of the pandemic, because how else were you going to meet somebody during that time, right? So I got on Hinge, and after maybe a couple of conversations, honestly, babe, I think it was my first day where we connected. I think I was on Hinge all of 24 hours, and I got a message from this guy talking about how you like your oatmeal cream pies, because Hinge has this thing where you answer a series of questions very briefly. And one of the questions was, what is your guilty pleasure? And my guilty pleasure is oatmeal cream pies. I love a hood snack. That's just how I get down. Judge me if you want to, but I'll go Little Debbie's okay, I digress. But anyway, he'd asked me how I eat said oatmeal cream pie. And I was like, how else would you eat an oatmeal cream pie but out the pack? He said, you don't microwave them and eat them with milk. So the milk part, yes, almond milk, of course, because, lactose situations on this side of 40. But if you warm them up, babe, they're no longer pies. It's no longer a cream pie. The cream crystallizes and they become cookies. So why would you do that? Why would you ruin a good thing? So as you can see, this was a healthy debate. This was a healthy debate. So that's how we started off in the game, with a healthy debate. And
she's been here ever since. I mean, I'll tell my portion of the story.
Tell your side while I sip.
I got on Hinge because I was tired of the other apps. And I was like, let me try this thing out. Right. So this young lady come up, check out her profile. She got a couple traps in there. I was like,
couple traps. What's the trap?
Let me not fall for the traps. Now I'm projecting because I had a hell of a lot of traps on my profile.
I was about to say your traps.
But I was like, you know what? Everybody's gonna talk on a picture. She was boxing, so she had a boxing pick on. So I was like, oh, she's rough. She's rough too. So okay, I like that. I saw she travels. I was like, okay, I like that. I was like, oatmeal cream pie. See,
not all of this was on Hinge.
Listen.
He went and did recon. He went to the IG page. He went deeper into.
Without a check, right? I'm gonna just say. Hinge gives you the opportunity to do your necessary research. Okay. So, but yeah, so, I saw oatmeal cream pie. I was like, everybody's going to glance over that because nobody understands the magic of oatmeal cream pie.
They're so magical, aren't they?
And so,
the best thing.
The blasphemy was, how else do you eat oatmeal cream pie? Like there was only one way. So from that point forward, it was, hey, let's get off this app. Let's start chatting. Let's video time now. Let's be honest.
He was so aggressive with the get off the app. He was like, let's video chat. I'm like, it's a pandemic. I have no eyebrows on, no mascara, nothing. I can't just be willy-nilly video chatting.
Listen, I want no Will Smith in the basement during an earthquake type of scenario and have it doing this. and plucking off nails. I was like, look.
He was like, now let's do it. Let's do it now. I like
I
natural. You know how they say, ladies, you know how they say, I like you natural. I want to see you the way you are.
And look, I'm still here. You know, I got to see the true pandemic version of her. You know what I mean? It would have taken me months to see the true pandemic version.
This is true.
So,
this is true. This was one of the benefits of developing and cultivating a relationship during the global pandemic. We went straight to the real.
Oh yeah. It was no jokes. You know, shot my shot. It was a little aggressive. Like, look, we need to move forward with this. Let's see where this is going. And then, you know, power couple to be.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
It's happening. It's happening.
And so one of the things that I loved about her was the fact that we both had the love of travel. Like, so much so that like that previous year we were both in Ghana at the same time. At all the same events. And I was like, hold up, you was at Dutty Rave, you was at Afrochella, you went to Elmina Castle.
I did.
I was like, oh, we done crossed paths like 50 times.
We did. It didn't even know it.
She lives in Harlem. I'm from Brooklyn. I used to frequent Harlem all the time. So I was like, oh, we done.
And we probably went to a lot of the same events here in Harlem. She's a socialite.
I'm not. So
you probably were there and just was kind of in the background. But even the boat ride, the Q boat ride in Pittsburgh. I might have been there a time or two.
Ask somebody. But with that said, you know, we started off with interest, and she was like, I like to travel. I was like, amazing, because I like to travel, and I don't plan on stopping.
He would have quit me on spot if I didn't say I like to travel. He's Mr. Travel himself. So if I didn't say, yeah, I like to travel, or he hadn't seen the evidence of travel in my social media with his recon, his research, you know,
it would have been a sad day, you know? But we did agree. All right, well, we're gonna do as much traveling as we can, and that literally led us to our first trip. Our first trip together was Atlanta.
Yeah. Our first trip was.
We went to Atlanta to visit family, and now this was kind of family slash. It sure was. The beginning of a house hunting scenario, and that was the first time on a flight. Now. Yeah. We take a couple of steps back.
Take a couple steps back, right?
You know, being as traveled as I am, one of the things that I've learned over time is I don't stay on the regular lines. From the day I discovered global entry and TSA pre-check, you ain't catching me going.
Tell it to him like it is. He threatened to leave me.
Listen,
I didn't have TSA pre-check at the time, and he's like, oh, I gotta be on this line with the common folk. If you don't get TSA, I'm leaving you next time.
I strongly suggested that she upgrade her lifestyle as an elite.
Strong suggestion. It was a threat. It was a full-on threat.
You know what? TSA pre-check and standing in that line. They don't.
And then he said, let's not just do TSA pre-check. Go for the goal. Let's do global entry so that when we leave the country, there's no situation come back. And you know what? I will admit, it was one of the biggest upgrades I've ever experienced in my adult life.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, he upgraded me. He said, get that global entry, babe. It'll take you places and come back faster. And he was right.
Yeah.
He was right.
And that was the beginning of the end, you know. From that point forward, I don't hear that I'm right too often, so I'm going to take that. But from that point forward, it was literally a matter of figuring out where to go next. And so we went, where did we go after that? Philadelphia to go visit family.
We did.
We
had been to Philadelphia a couple of times, but we went to Myrtle Beach
for her family situation.
My grandfather's 85th birthday party. We went there, and then shortly after that, we did a road trip to New England.
Right. So pandemic is here.
Yeah.
We on lockdown. And you know, we on lockdown. So when you're on lockdown, everybody's eating all crazy, like, right? And we was like, we need to stay a little active. All the gyms closed. And so this one, I don't know how she did it, but she found us 2 bikes.
I was on a pursuit, y'all. So when pandemic happened, and then we started just like Netflix and chilling and eating and eating and eating. I don't know how much, I don't think you gained much weight, babe, but I gained a lot of weight. And so I was like, we need to be doing something active. So the summer was approaching and I was like trying to find bikes, no bikes, nowhere in the market, back orders for 3 months on Amazon, on Walmart, everywhere. I was looking everywhere. Finally, in August, a friend of mine said, this bike shop got a new shipment recently. So the next day I was at that bike shop and they had 3 bikes left. I took 2 of them. I called him. I was like, listen, give me it's early in our relationship. So I didn't, if this was happening today, I would have did it and then be like, babe, I got us a bike. But back then it was new. It was like, can I spend this much money? Can we do that? Whatever. And so I got the bikes, put them in my car.
It was a wrap.
And it was a wrap.
So what we decided to do was test out the bikes.
It was such a big win.
And one of the worst ways to test out the bikes. So I haven't rode a bike in a long time, and real riders know that there's a gear that you need to wear, like
biking as an adult with adult parts on a bike is very different than biking as a child. So children can endure the seat differently than adults can.
But we did tackle Central Park for the first time.
We did. That was our first ride. We went through Central Park.
But you know, that first
and one loop is 8 miles.
So we did 8 miles our first go. Then we did it the next day and the next day. And we was like, you know what, this could be our new life. So she was mentioning going to New England. So the first thing we decided to do was, let's go on a road trip, bring the bikes with us. And at that point,
and I know you say you're not a planner, babe, but what he is safety precautional measure expert. So there was a hitch for the bike rather than what I did. I threw them in the back of my truck. He was like, no, we need a hitch for the bike so that the bikes can ride safely. We also need some gear. We need lights on the bike that flicker. So just in case we're riding at night, people can see us. We need cushioned seats. We need cushioned seats, and not only cushioned seats, we need cushioned shorts. So we sit on the cushioned seats wearing our cushioned shorts so that we don't have the same experience that we did.
The first time.
Oh, it was so bad the first time. But
yeah, so that goes to, like, you know, my organization, which was the lack of discomfort. But her organization, I learned from her, she's like, look, we're going to do this way, we're going to do that way, we're going to do it this way. She literally had Aruba planned out for what? We stayed at 2 different locations. Even with going to New England, she made sure we had the location down packed, the places we were going to go eat, because she realized that Maine had nothing but restaurants and seafood. So goodness. I learned she's a planner. She likes to plan.
Portland had so many restaurants to choose from. I got recommendations from friends who are from Portland or from Maine. I went online and saw places to stay, but then also places to eat. Remember, I actually looked up the wrong Portland at one point. I was searching so much. I didn't even realize that it was saying Portland, Oregon. I was like, babe, this hotel is fabulous. He was like, it sure is, but it's not where we're going.
I was like, oh, we driving to Oregon? Okay, that's gonna be an interesting trip. But nonetheless, that was kind of dope. What did you learn about me?
I learned that you will take risks on vacation that you will not take at home. You will say, and my babe says no. Initially, no is always his first response. Babe, let's go on a hike. No. But then look who's getting ready, putting on his clothes, his gear to go on a hike. Babe, let's go. The only thing that I didn't have to convince you to do is jet skis.
Oh, yeah.
Jet skis is something that but not the daredevilish ways, that he's going to remain very safe. He's not doing figure eights and standing up and all of that stuff. But he will do it.
So the one thing I look forward to when I travel is clean water, right? Yes. Talking about blue sea water, ocean water, just like nice little water.
So you saying you weren't taking risks?
We was in Virginia Beach.
We were at Myrtle Beach.
And if you saw the water, you would be as cautious as I was too. But nonetheless, I'm a cautious person, and I will take.
He is very cautious. He is very cautious. He keeps us safe. I'm the risk taker. I'm the let's just do it. Let's jump into it. And he's like, hold on, let's think about this for a second. That's also what I learned about you too. Like you are really calm in chaotic situations. He remains calm. Now, anybody that knows me, and those of you who are just meeting me, welcome to the world of Jackie. I am highly emotional, high energy, and I'm affected. I'm easily affected, whether it's positive or negative. But him, even in the most crazy situations, he remains even what do you call it? Temperament, calm, rational, and is working to ease and calm the situation so we get back to normal.
Yeah.
I've learned that about you.
We got to balance this out. When you go up here, I got to, kind of maintain us in the middle somewhere. So
what have you learned about me from traveling?
I already talked. You just ready to go. You ready to experience everything. She's ready to jump in the water.
I am.
She's like, I want to try this, this, and this. We will have a full table of samples just so that she has everything that she wants to try out.
I do.
I enjoy those. We both like food. Why not? Right?
Yes.
So what inspires you to continue to travel?
Oh, that's a good question. So what inspires me is, let's just keep it real. We lead very busy lives. I thought I was busy until I met him. This man does not stop working. He has 18 jobs and all of them are demanding and require his attention. I have jobs that are really intense and don't stop. It's not a 9-to-5 situation. So it's always something, it's always a problem to fix. It's always an issue to resolve. It's always a process to enhance in all the things that I do. And so travel, when I'm home, I'm always thinking about what's the next thing I have to do. What's the next thing I have to do? But when I'm traveling, I'm very present. So what keeps me traveling is the opportunity to be present. Can you imagine? And so it's very, if you can think about that in terms of like what it really does for someone to be present is to be calm, is to be peaceful, it's stress relieving, it's therapeutic. It's therapeutic. Like that's what it is. I also like experiencing new cultures and new foods. Or old foods, good foods. We are foodies. We are definitely foodies. So we try new things. We go to places. We have a lineup of restaurants. If we don't have nothing else to do, we definitely have stuff to eat.
Always got food.
Always got food. Always have leftovers. Hopefully they get eaten and not, we go to the next restaurant and it just, keep swallowed up. But we're definitely foodies. What about you, babe? What inspires you to continue traveling?
Traveling allows me to check out. I mean, I think similar to what you're saying, right? It's one of those things where, although we may not be working or we may not be doing one of the many things that we do, like for the people that we love and the people around us, like even when we're home, it's like not checked out, right? There's no really checking out.
You can't.
I take care of my dad, you have family at home, and although we're not engaged with those people, there's always that, all right, this person's going to reach out for help at any given time. So sometimes it becomes a little difficult. And for me, travel is therapeutic, right? In the sense where I find my peace and wellness on a beach somewhere, on some ATVs, on the pool side, eating some crazy food from some crazy place,
disconnected
in some random location in the world.
I tried to call you. I was abroad.
Listen. I don't get my signal. Don't work over there. You know what I mean? No, I do answer only if it's an emergency. But yeah, that's kind of why I travel, because one of the reasons why this show started was because during the pandemic we was all kind of restricted as to where we can go, and the only way that I was able to travel was through other people's stories and through listening to other people's stories about how they travel, what they were doing before they travel, how the pandemic impacted their travel for that year. It was interesting to see that,
and even your own pictures, babe, from previous trips.
So it was just one of those where it's like, all right, well, what to do next, right? And so through the show, we were able to give other people that sense of loss, right? Sense of adventure, sense of reliving the great times.
Yep.
So speaking of reliving great times, like, do you have like a bucket list of places you've wanted to go to?
No, I don't have I wouldn't say, you know what? Let me think about that question before I just blurt out an answer. There are places that I would like to go. I don't refer to them as a bucket list, but there are places that I'd like to go.
So what are those places?
I really wanted us to honeymoon in Italy and Greece. I really wanted that, but the pandemic is hating on our travel from Africa to, those places, but we'll get there. So I guess we can put those on our bucket list.
Okay.
And then South Sudan. So definitely Kenya, Zanzibar, Uganda. I want to get over there. You told me great things about Dubai, so I want to get to Dubai too. And some of our guests have told us amazing things about Dubai. I'd want to go to Costa Rica. I've never been to Costa Rica, so I want to go there. So yeah, I would think that's bucket list stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think. So I've always
St. Lucia. We had a
St.
trip
Lucia.
canceled to St. Lucia. That was heartbreaking during the pandemic.
Trying to get monies back. They ain't trying to give it to us.
Caribbean Air don't go nowhere, and don't like we got a credit with an airline that we can't even use. Oh my goodness.
But I would say for me, it's always been Asia, right? Trying to go to Japan. I want to go to Singapore. So Crazy Rich Asians is one of my favorite movies. And
mine
so
too.
I definitely want to go there. She mentioned Dubai. I want to go to Dubai. And that's really it. Like, just the rest of the world, literally from that point forward. So I think since we don't have our bucket list together, we just going to add lists together.
We're just going to go. We're going to go to all your places. We're going to go to all my places. We're going to go.
There you go. So what's been your most memorable moment thus far traveling?
My most memorable moment or my most memorable trip is easy because that's Haiti for a lot of different reasons. The ups and the downs of Haiti. It was one because both of his parents are from Haiti and they've become instant family for me. His mom and dad have both welcomed me into their lives in a way that I couldn't even imagine that fast. And so to see where they were born and raised and to see where the country he calls home, that was amazing enough. Just to fly there and land there was enough. But then to go to so many beautiful places, riding through Port-au-Prince was really beautiful. And it reminded me of a lot of African villages that I visited, other Caribbean places, just the connection because growing up in New York City, we get a lot of exposure to a lot of international people, people who have ventured out and migrated from different countries. And so there are places that have better reputations and places that don't have great reputations. And Haiti is one of those places that it was great to see in person and just squash all of the negative stereotypes about what it means to be in Haiti. And then we had this amazing journey. Amazing is both great and not so great. It's an incredible voyage from Port-au-Prince to South Haiti, the south coast of Haiti, and then to travel on a boat to Île Vache. Now, at the time, it was like being in one of those. What is that? What is that movie with Harrison Ford? My grandmother used to love those. No. You know what I'm talking about? Indiana Jones. It was like traveling. You had to have your stuff with you. You had to make sure you were safe. We were on a boat holding our own bags, heading to it was so many ups and downs. And then there was civil unrest and there were protesters that had blocked off a street or blocked off a main road. So we were blocked and stopped for maybe about 4 hours. And that's added to an already 6-hour trip. So it made it a 10-hour journey from the hotel just to get to the boat, to get to Isla Vache. But all of that was still worth it when we got to this beautiful island and we stayed at these cottages. We had our own private cottage that was on the beach, basically. Like you step down off of your front porch and the sand was right there. And the beach, the actual water was maybe 10, 15 feet out. It was amazing. And what I love most about it too is when we came home, he tells everybody, I took her home. So just to hear that, you know, like, so yes, most memorable, hands down, was Haiti. What about you?
I mean, she answered. If I add any more, we're gonna go into a 2-hour mark. You know what I mean? No, I mean that experience. So, Isla Vache, traveling to Isla Vache was actually my first time going to Isla Vache, right? I honestly didn't know Isla Vache existed until this trip. So this was a new for me. But like she said, like taking her home was really important because at the end of the day, and this also kind of reflects with why I'm doing Travel Tuesdays is sometimes we have to control our narrative, right? And if all that is put out there is the negative visibility, the negative messages of Haiti, no one's ever going to really go. So having her go and then come back and have these amazing stories means the world because it shows people that it's not what is put out there about the country. Right. So that, and you know, the whole keeping my head cool under pressure or under certain pressures.
Biggest example
was you know, there was civil unrest and there were some very dicey moments, and I will say thank you to Black World Travelers and Gravel World and Peuge Cliff. You really made sure that every step of the way people felt safe. Every step of the way we were informed when we needed to be informed.
Made executive decisions on behalf of the group to keep us safe.
Listen, we had a free day that wasn't planned, but it was better off than going on.
Wasn't it so good? We bust everybody's ass in spades.
We played some spades.
We did.
And if y'all want some more, come get some.
Come get some.
Come get some. You know how we say it. You know what I mean? But that was definitely a dope experience because we met a bunch of new people. And that's the other thing about travel is I do group travel because I'm lazy in planning. But in group travel, you meet a whole bunch of new people of like mind. And hopefully like attainment. And so it's
like attainment. I like that.
You know, and like attainment. And it's one of those things where you grow a family with every single trip. So but yeah, so that was definitely an amazing experience.
Is your favorite separate from your most memorable? Do you have a favorite?
Of the two of us or in general?
The two of us. It's couples goals. The two of us.
I think it's both.
The same?
Yeah, it's both because it was an adventure. Like literally an adventure. Yeah. Because I mean, Jamaica I've been to before, same spot, and Aruba was cool, but it's not like up there in the list. But I mean Aruba for the food definitely. Yeah. Unfortunately, we went during the pandemic and the curfew kind of prevented us from really enjoying ourselves, similar to Jamaica. But I think they were both dope experiences. One thing I do want to kind of bring up is like, one of the things I ask all my guests is, what has traveling while Black looked like for you? And for me, it's been an interesting experience. So as a Black man traveling around the United States, you know, we're taught to kind of be careful. You never know who's around. You never know how they'll treat you. And for me, for the majority of my life, really haven't experienced overt racism in the United States. Maybe some microaggressions here and there, but nothing that's like outright in my face. Till I started to travel to the South. those were pretty interesting experience. You know, you're talking about people not wanting to sit next to me on the plane, people not wanting to kind of like that overt, like walking across the street because I'm a scary Black man. These are things that I experienced in the United States, but like traveling overseas was different. Like I initially started traveling to like Black countries, right? Like the Caribbean, back home to Haiti. But once you start traveling to different Anglo countries, it's a different experience. I'll say I've never experienced my worst experience. I'll say was for me Germany, and this was during the time where I don't want to say if it was coincidental or that's just how they behaved, but this was during the mass migration out of African immigrants into the country, into all of Europe at that point, right? And so I got kind of flagged by, you know, undercover police officers because they assumed I was an immigrant. So they was asking me for my paperwork. Now, me being the person that I was, kind of level-headed, you know, was like, all right, I'll give you the paperwork. I never really thought anything of it until I went to the group and they were like, they singled you out of everybody here. You know, it had to be something. But to be honest, I mean, I took it as them doing their job, and then asked a colleague of mine that's from Germany, was like, hey, what's going on? And he explained it was due to immigrants without paperwork. So for me, traveling while Black has always been a positive experience. Worst case scenario, depending on the president, I would say Obama era, it was, yo, I love your president. Yeah. He's cool. Trump era, I get laughs at the airport, like, ha ha ha, your president is funny. Which is interesting because they see me as American before they see me as Black. Not that they don't see color, but the whole American aspect of traveling across the world is a larger impact, or I receive a different behavior when they find out I'm American, as opposed to, let's say I spoke French, I would have been treated a completely different way, right? Because Black man speaking French, he's not from here, right? So it's a gift and a curse being a Black man traveling, because they're always trying to figure out where you're from to determine how to treat you. What has it been your experience like? So I did a study abroad in Spain my junior year in college. So I'm about 19, 20 at the time. And we did we went to school at the University of Jaén, which is in southern Spain, very close to the Granada, Cordoba. And really southern Spain, the coast of southern Spain is 7 miles in distance, separated by water from Morocco. And if you know the history of that area, the Moors had conquered Iberia, which is southern Spain, parts of Italy, like that, you know, that they had come up in there, really took over and built roads and architecture. Like the architecture is still very rich and African and Muslim in nature. But the Spanish pushed the Moors out, later pushed the Moors out, and were really treacherous in the Crusades at that time and killed a lot of residual Moors. Some of them were able to flee, but a lot of them were killed. So there were many years where there was no connection between the Moroccan border and southern Spain or Spain in general. So there were no, so I say all that to say, when I studied there, I was one of 2 Black people in the class of about 20 of us. And one day when we were let out of school early, we were let out at the same time as a group of young boys just leaving school. And so they were in awe of me
The other Black student, he's a guy, and he wasn't there at the time. I don't know why he wasn't there that day, but so I was the only Black person, only physically Black person in that area, and they surrounded me. And they surrounded me, and they were trying to touch my skin, or asking to touch my skin, asking to touch my hair. They were just in awe. It was like this spectacle. It was off-putting at first, but when my teacher started to explain what was happening, it was like, okay, I understand. And a lot of them, this was a rural town with not a lot of television access at the time, because I'm dating myself. There was not much internet access at all. There wasn't an Instagram, there wasn't Facebook. So they didn't have the exposure. So this was, for them, their first exposure in person of a Black person. Later, so that affected me to the point where, I guess in my later 20s, I just decided I was only going to places where there were predominantly Black people. I didn't enjoy that experience as much as I was gracious at the time and very humble and embraced it at the time. I did not want to be a spectacle in another place. So I avoided, I didn't go back to Spain. I didn't go back to Europe until maybe 10 years later. So I stayed in the Caribbean, basically primarily the Caribbean, and other parts of the United States and Canada. So it affected my decision-making in terms of where to go. That experience affected my decision-making.
Okay. And at that point, so now that I'm here, you know what I'm saying? This is about me. I mean, it's about us. How has that experience changed?
Well, it's changed because I want to see places through your eyes. I want to see how you see things. And I think between the two of us, I'm the most militant Black power, pro-Black. I only want things to be Black. But you see beauty. You see scenic beauty. You see cultural beauty. And I think that is going to be what guides us in terms of where we choose to pick our destinations of where we go. And I'm excited about that.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
We did decide to get married in Africa because I wanted to get married in Africa. He wanted to get married in South America. Thank you, baby, so much for. I don't know if I've ever officially thanked you for letting me have the destination.
Exclusive. I'm just telling y'all, I've been waiting for this.
But from here on out, everything doesn't have to always be Blackity Black. We can appreciate other cultures.
There you go. And for me, it's interesting to see how people see me now, right? So before it was, all right, this Black guy, right? But now it's just like this man and his woman, which I've come to realize is a completely different approach in how they talk to you. You know, we've talked to guests this season, and you know, they've had some interesting experience about how they're seen together. And that's the amazing thing is, you know, the world is actually prepared to see a Black man and a Black woman together and aren't fearful of them. And I think that's something that
man and wife is less intimidating than man by himself.
Right.
You are less of a threat to other cultures, other ethnicities. There is a genuine, real fear of non-Black people, of Black men specifically. And something about you being with a Black woman makes that softer. It makes you softer. It makes you more approachable.
Just don't try me.
Just don't try him. Do not try him.
So we started with how I was an experiment during the pandemic, and we survived the pandemic.
Yes.
High five. There you go. We survived the pandemic.
We did.
How has life changed for you? Like, what's the new norm that we're trying to find, like with mask mandates, with travel restrictions? Like, what does that look like for you? Because I mean, we go from working from home to hybrid to, I don't know whatever this is now. So like, What's your new normal looking like now?
My new normal is more freedom. It really is. Because of a nudge from you, I quit my job and I was in a very structured corporate retail industry. And so I am now in nonprofit, which what that means is 100% of my time is spent empowering my community. And the pandemic has afforded even the nonprofit industry the knowledge of how well we can function if we don't report to an office, or even though we're not reporting to an office. So working from home has been, I know this is not new to you. You've been working from home way before there was a pandemic, but the concept of working from home and being productive from home has changed my life. And I also run a nonprofit organization that promotes positive self-esteem and self-images amongst youth of color. And we used to meet in Black-owned, Black-operated spaces in Harlem. We used to gather, and a big part of the vibe of what we created for this organization and for the youth that we serve is being together, being in the same place. So we've had to pivot and we've had to create a vibe over Zoom, create that virtually. And a lot of work and consideration and intentional operation has gone into making sure our youth experience that same feeling of tribe and belonging and together, and refer to the Royalty Project as a place, but it's virtual. So that's changed a lot. In terms of travel though, we got to look at everything. Like I think what we've been doing, if we travel domestically, we just look at what's required, what needs to be done. We drive in. So if we need to pivot and because we can't go somewhere, that's been fine. But international travel, most of it or a lot of it has been group travel, because then the travel agent is responsible for knowing all of the things, the COVID protocols and the considerations. But when we do things on our own, like when we went to DR with your parents, we had to make sure we knew where to get tested, where to go, what to do. That is the new normal. The new normal is not bouncing around. I think both of us had done a lot of, okay, since we're going to get on a flight, we might as well make the most of it and go to 3 or 4 different countries. That's not the case anymore. We can't, that's not the new normal. Different countries have different requirements, and different countries you can't go to from the other country. You got to come back home. So it's been a lot of one country, one trick ponies, one country.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because like for me, everybody was trying to adjust to this work from home life, and I was like, y'all just trying to do this,
right?
I've damn near perfected it. You know, and I think for me, like,
you hooked me up with my first work from home situation.
Hey,
you were like, I got you. You got these screens. You got all of this. I'm like,
I got you. You know what I mean? But for me, the new norm is really like, so I like I said earlier, I care for my dad, and so a lot of the new norm is making sure that we move around smarter.
Yeah.
Right. Move around smarter. Be mindful of the people that we have around us.
Yes.
And really try to take as many precautions as possible so that nothing is brought home and potentially get dad sick.
Yep.
So whether that's work related, fun, travel, we're always trying to do that. Now, the new norm is, dad now wants to go everywhere. He's going to Morocco. We're going to the Bahamas.
Yes.
Dad is like,
I'm ready to go.
After shot number 2, he wants to go everywhere. So
pandemic hit, he was like, y'all leave me alone. I'm in my room. I'm not leaving. I'm not even going to the stoop.
Right. So
now dad is like, let's go.
So it's been a gift and a curse, right? And gift in many ways for us, at least, in a sense that it gave us a newfound way of spending time together.
Yeah.
Not just with each other, but with our family.
Yep.
Because we've gone to 2 family gatherings so far for your family.
Yes. We've gone to visit your family.
Right. And so it's been interesting. I will say, I have some tips for those of you that are looking to start traveling.
Yes.
Number 1, make sure you really, 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 really want to do this, right? traveling is not as glamorous as everybody makes it seem on the social media platforms. But it can be. It can be within your own means. It can be within the way that you envision it. So I would say number one, budget. We're getting ready to start a union. So one of the things that we're gonna do is a travel budget.
Joint travel account.
Drop a couple of dollars every month in the bank account, such that when that trip comes up, there's no hesitation whether you're going or not. Two, find you a travel agent, a travel group, or somebody that just likes to book the travels for you and utilize that to the umpteenth level. The pros and cons of that is really, pros for me are all the logistics are taken out for me. They're determining what the COVID requirements are. They're getting the accommodations put together. They're getting the excursions put together. And then on top of that, they give you a payment plan if you're not ready to drop the whole load on the trip. And then lastly, I will say is go with zero expectations, except for the fact that you're going to have fun.
That's a good one.
Right. I think a lot of people look at going to places like Haiti or Ghana or some of these other places of being first world type of experiences. First world, being like here.
Right? Being like here.
Yes.
Okay.
So they're not, right? Now you pay for first world experiences. But be mindful that every experience may not be the same. Right. That's really mine. What about you?
I think you covered them, babe. I think you've covered them. Those are the key ones. Budget. Don't expect your trip to look exactly like you've seen on the gram or like, what you think it might be based on media, social media, whatever. Go into it knowing you're going to create your own fun. I love those.
Okay. So you talked about all of these things that you're working on and that you do. Tell us about the Royalty Project and what do you do for this other nonprofit? Tell us.
So my full-time gig is that I am the Chief Operations Officer for the New York Urban League, proudly serving an organization, a historic legacy organization that has an over 100-year history of serving New Yorkers, Black New Yorkers of color. And then also I am the founder and executive director of the Royalty Project, which is a nonprofit organization. It's a cultural enrichment initiative. And the key focus is the mentor program that promotes positive self-images and self-esteem amongst youth of color. I just really feel like there are a lot of people, especially your followers, babe, like a lot of people that listen to this platform, especially our guests. Our guests have all been prime for mentorship, to be mentors. And I can't wait till we kick back off in the fall so that I can send invitations for all of these very talented, pro-Black, inspirational people in our community to serve as mentors.
Awesome. And where can we find you guys?
At theroyaltyproject.org on IG, The Royalty Project, or at the Royalty Project on IG, www.theroyaltyproject.org is the website, and then The Royalty Project for Facebook, The Royalty Project for LinkedIn.
Okay, and then the New York Urban League?
And the Urban League. The New York Urban League is for the IG at New York Urban League. New York Urban League for Facebook, New York Urban League for Twitter, New York Urban League for LinkedIn, and the website is nyul.org.
Oh, amazing. Now, what I really want to talk about now is what has this experience been like? I mean, we've interviewed a good amount of people.
I mean, I know we're watching your podcast, but
people know about me already.
I mean, you can still drop it right now, just in case they scrolling through their phones and they, what I mean.
So if you haven't already known, my name is Peuge Benjamin once again of Atomic Travels. I'm a travel photographer. I'm also co-founder of Get My Cheese Back on My Cracker Foundation.
Some people might not know that.
Which is a mental wellness organization that's focused on breaking the barriers to receiving service. We also are working towards debunking the myths and mistruths about mental health. So we also have a podcast. Getting My Cheese Back on My Cracker podcast is really a driven conversation to normalize talking about mental health issues and the things that impact us as a Black community. We can be found at cheeseonmycracker.org, Cheese on My Cracker on IG, Twitter, and Getting My Cheese Back on My Cracker on Facebook.
Yep.
So with that being said, what was your experience like for this season? Because you've watched me from afar.
I have.
Stalking me on every episode. But seeing how all that goes into this, like what's been your experience been like? And what do you think people could look out for? What are some things that you want to say stands out for this season?
I think this was very cool. For us to do this together, we work on a lot of things. We're silent partnerships in a lot of things that we do together. But for us to both be co-hosts on this project has been great. Like working with my boo has been cool. But then also interviewing other couples and learning their journeys and their stories about travel. We have laughed, we have been shocked, we have been amazed. Some of the stories have just been so dope. And Black love is revolutionary. So doing this and putting it on the platform and making this season 3 and adding some new things, but keeping some old, it's always happy hour. It's happy hour somewhere. Keeping to the core of what Travel Tuesdays happy hour is, but letting people add their spouses or their significant others that make their travel experiences amazing has been cool.
Awesome.
How about you? How was it having a co-host this time around?
It's been interesting. I will say having a co-host for this show is different from this show is different from the other show.
Yeah, you try to give me the shoulder.
In a sense where you ask the questions that I don't technically think of, right? Especially with couples. It's I'm more of a private, let private be. Yeah. You're more of a let me snoop behind the veil.
Let me know.
So I like the depth that we're able to go in with the guests to be able to kind of get a little bit more like, who hit on who first, or
what's their journey?
What's your journey?
It's a travel journey, but then it's your couple's journey.
Yeah, and so you get a mix of relationship questions and travel questions.
Yep.
And a lot of nuggets on how to stay together.
Yeah.
We had couples, and once again, all of these couples survived the pandemic.
High five to all of you guys.
They'll tell you why or how. And then of course the tips, like I think we get a range of tips from our guests that let us know that travel is still possible.
Yeah, for people that do travel as a hobby, but also people who make a profession out of booking people's travel.
Right.
We've gotten good tips from both.
Oh, right. And one of the things that we like to do is help some of our guests promote their businesses. And when we talk about businesses, we got some power couples on this season.
Do.
And we got this one couple where the wife was so modest about what she did. It was like, hold up, y'all was at the Grammys.
What?
You're not gonna bring up the Grammys. So
her husband did though.
He was her biggest
That's
cheerleader.
Support system.
And so this season has been an interesting one, especially since she wanted to do a podcast with me, and
you gonna tell that?
Nah, I was like, nah, it ain't gonna happen. But
it ended up happening.
I told her, you know what, this is a trial run so that we could see whether or not this goes any further. So
remember when I told y'all he often says no to things?
So I'm gonna leave this to y'all.
And then he'll come back around and say yes. This is the biggest yes.
So I'm gonna leave this to y'all. We have an idea for a podcast. Depending on your comments in the comment section, your likes.
What do you think? And
your subscriptions is going to.
I mean, we already took an IG poll and it was favorable. You the only person that voted no.
We're going to see whether or not this works or not. But I'm definitely for it. This was definitely a dope experience, and I thank you very much.
Aw, thank you for having me.
Well, we are here, season 3, Travel Tuesday, happy hour, couples goals, aka Black Love. What you will see is we got some amazing new looks.
Yep.
We got a new logo.
Yes.
For the podcast, we got a new logo for Atomic Travels, and we're about to have a new website up and running, so you guys can catch up on all the past episodes. See where we've been this past year, and really take the time to get to know us a little better. So with that being said, stay safe, continue to travel. Peace.